You are now tuned in to the GNWY podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the GNWY podcast. We are so excited. So please do not forget to rate, review, like, subscribe, do all the things, and share it to your mom. Do all the things. I don't care. But today we have none other, okay, than the one and only, no last name, no nothing, because we just call her, okay, by the one and only Victoria. Everybody make some noise for Victoria. Okay, TikTok sensation, social media guru. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you want to give like a 5 to 10 second brief intro of like who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I wear a lot of hats, but my name's Victoria.
Yeah.
Victoria Jameson. I'm from Dallas, Fort Worth area.
Yeah.
I've been in the social media space, I guess, since 2015-ish.
Yeah.
That's like, what, 7 years now?
Yeah.
I am a makeup artist. I've been a professional dancer. I've like worn a lot of hats.
Let's go.
It's kind of evolved into this career in content creation and like utilizing social media to support myself as a creator and to have like a platform to meet people and kind of share my life.
That's insane. Yeah. And you have well around almost 1 million followers on TikTok. Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy. How does that, for one, let's start with the surface part of it. How does just that, knowing that you have 1 million subscribers and followers on TikTok, how does that feel?
It doesn't feel any different than having 0 followers. I think it's really funny because I don't really even tell people like when I meet them about my social media stuff, like it's part of my job. So it comes up eventually. And, you know, when you connect with people, they see it. But it does not have the same impact I think I thought it would when I was, you know, looking at creators that are where I am now. It's a big part of my career, but it's not like the only thing that matters, if that makes sense.
And it's not the only thing about you. You seem like you wear all these hats.
No,
so,
I say that like social media is the least interesting thing about me. Like, it's
what's
part of my job.
For people even like myself, what's the most interesting thing about Victoria?
Oh man, I don't know. I think it's that like I am very multi-hyphenated. Like I have a lot of things that I'm interested in and like doing, and having my platform allows me to like explore those things, which I feel really lucky to be able to do, honestly, like dream job.
Definitely.
So yeah, I guess that's kind of interesting. Not everyone has that opportunity.
You pretty much get to promote your life.
Yeah.
That's
like
dope. That's
the goal, is like to be able to do cool stuff and get paid to do it.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Exactly. Well, we want to say that we're super honored that you came all the way up here. I know that you're running errands, okay, but still, we're very honored that you came all the way here to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
And so even just getting into the world of podcasting and stuff for, you know, GNWY and stuff, we're super honored and, you know, to meet everybody. And we love stories. We love broadcasting stories, all this kind of thing. And your story, it seems like a lot, you know, it seems very like interesting, and I'm super excited to hear more about it. But then also for like, we have viewers that are, you know, looking to become a content creator or looking to become, you know, an entrepreneur and all that kind of thing. And so for us is like to have somebody on here and being able to like kick game for these people who don't know. I would want to see like what are some 5 like things that what not to do's for people who want to become a content creator.
Okay.
Or 3. We could do 3. We could cut it down.
I think the biggest thing that comes to mind, like there was a study recently, I think that now the number 1 job that teenagers and young people want is like to be a influencer. Or like I don't like the word influencer. I prefer content creator.
Right.
Because I don't think I influence as much as I do like create and entertain. But I think the biggest thing is having something to be influential in and not just wanting to do it like for the sake of attention and visibility. Because if that's your goal, like you're only going to be unhappy. Like I said earlier, I mean, the numbers like don't actually mean anything. Like there's always people that are bigger than you. Like I have friends that have 10 million followers. Like mine doesn't even hold a candle to that. Like, so you kind of have to be passionate and have a message, I guess, or a goal in mind. you can't be creating just to create for numbers and views and virality. Like it's so empty. And those are the people that burn out and end up like just fizzling out because there's no reason to sustain it.
Yeah. So for Victoria and like your platform, what's one of the messages that you try to push?
I definitely am like really passionate about mental health. Like I talk about that a lot. Yeah. Just because I feel like all the stuff I've been through in my life, like I have a chance to like help people that are going through that same thing.
That's good.
So that's something I'm really passionate about. I'm passionate about like empowering people to take control of their income, like through entrepreneurship, like which for me, like started out as a makeup artist and well, as a dancer as well. Like that's basically being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I've always loved that side of things. So building my platform through like my DIY and like lifestyle stuff has given me a chance to like help people with their businesses, which I'm really passionate about because social media is free. Like anyone can use it. And that's like so powerful. Like all you have to have is a phone and you can create a new stream of income. Yeah,
that's real. So you hit on mental health, which is a huge part of us. And so I would like to get into a little bit of that if you're cool with that. I know we just met, so nice to meet you. Yes. We'll jump into that. Like, the whole mental health side. So like, I mean, and that could even spur on like what started you to even become, a content creator and everything. And so, with the whole mental health, what makes you so passionate about it? Yeah.
I think like from as long as I can remember, like I had anxiety as a kid and I think like growing up in the early 2000s, that was not something people talked about really. Like,
right.
So I like have dealt with anxiety my whole life. I'm a highly anxious person, or I can be. I'm definitely getting better. But that definitely played a factor in like growing up. And I'm an only child, and like there's the ice. Are you too? Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Nah, he's not.
I know it's like not that common to me. Only children. So like I don't know. I had an interesting dynamic of like moving a lot, like not having to make friends quickly, but kids are mean. Like, right. I just had an interesting time growing up. So that definitely shapes my experience. And then being in the performing industry as well, like that takes a huge toll on your mental health. Like I was not okay for a lot of my dance career. So I kind of realized
just like stuffing things down, or like what do you mean by not okay?
I think in the dance and like in performing arts in general, like so much of your value is like dictated by other people that it takes such a strong person to be able to really make it long term in that industry.
Yeah.
And I think going into it, I just did not have the mental toughness. Like I did to an extent, like, but it really is like next level. Definitely. So yeah, that was really hard for me. I've been in eating disorder recovery for God, what year was that? Since 2014. So like that was a big part of my dance. I don't even think it was dance. I think it was growing up in the early 2000s and diet culture. But so that's part of my mental health journey. And that's something like so many people struggle with. So I feel like going through all of that stuff, like to me, I'm able to like talk about that. Like not everyone wants to talk about stuff that personal, but like I'm willing to. So definitely. Like I think it can help people.
Oh yeah. And you got a good platform to be able to do that on. So are you able to like speak on too, like the things that you're able to do for yourself to be able to, manage all of these things too?
Yeah. So therapy.
Right. Yes.
I think,
which is another thing that a lot of people look down upon too. So
it's crazy. Yeah. I've actually been in and out of therapy probably my entire life. Like my parents are very emotionally intelligent, and like they could tell even just from moving a bunch as a kid, like I had anxiety. So like I remember going to play therapy when I was like a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think it was getting diagnosed with ADHD too. I'm not sure how much of it was therapy and how much of it was like, you need to calm down.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, I think therapy is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And having people like in your life that you can talk to.
Yes, huge. And creating that sense of community too. And I don't know, like too, like being an only child, you know what I'm saying? Like I know for me, like it was a situation where like I learned how to talk to myself. In the sense of like, because I was dealing with a lot of emotion too, and it was like, I think back then I didn't realize that that's actually something that could be helpful for some people to, like, if you don't have anybody, you know what I'm saying? You can't just not talk, you know what I'm saying? Or not write things down or get things off your chest, you know what I'm saying? And so being able to learn how to talk to yourself was kind of a cool thing for me. And that's something that I kind of do now, in the sense of like, I'm like internalizing, you know what I'm saying? And
See, I do
having
the
that
opposite.
Conversation. Oh, okay.
So like I never learned, that's something I've learned my childhood traumas lately like I never learned how to self-soothe as a kid, because to me, my punishment, like getting sent to timeout, was like being alone, like being isolated. So for me, like I always went to other people for comfort. And
got you.
So like I had the
That's
opposite
interesting.
experience.
That
So I'm having to learn now as like a 30-year-old adult to like self-soothe and talk myself through things instead of having to rely on other people to do it. So
I was the opposite. So when my mom said, you know, go to your room I'm like, cool, I'm cool with being by myself, you know. I've already been it, you know. So that's interesting. Okay, cool. So so you traveled around. Was this through like army, or was this through like jobs, or what?
Yeah, my dad worked in oil and gas. So
Okay.
he was in like kind of communication side of things. So he actually worked on oil rigs when he was in college and right out of college. Yeah. And then we moved to Indonesia in 2000.
You were mentioning that earlier,
1994. So, I mean, I was young, but definitely weird for like all my early memories to be in Asia. Like, I mean, I had no concept that we weren't in America. So I thought it was like normal.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny though, over there, like the economy is so different. I mean, back then too, we lived on like a compound. So we had like a live-in cook and maid and driver, and because it helped stimulate the economy of the village that we like lived right next to.
Got you. Yeah.
So when we moved back to the US, my dad like was obviously at the office all day, and I just had my mom home with me, and she was having to cook and clean and do all the normal mom things. Right. And I remember telling her like, Dad, you need to get mom a maid so she can play with me, because I had no concept that was like not normal.
That's real.
So that was my earliest memories. Was
That's crazy.
I was lucky that I was able to like be with my mom that much growing up.
Definitely, yeah, that's huge. So how long were you in Indonesia?
3 years.
3 years. Got you. From the time you were to what?
2 to 5.
2 to 5.
Yeah. So like
that's pretty cool though. Yeah. Like those pivotal years of like learning and
weird.
Like cognitive and all that kind of stuff. Like you're with your mom. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's awesome. And so you coming back to America and all this kind of stuff. When did you start? Like, have you always been in performing arts since you were young, or like, okay.
It was funny. I was talking to my mom the other day. I was teaching a private lesson for a girl at the modeling school I teach at, and she was just very shy. And I was talking about how a lot of kids kind of have to have that like innate performing vibe to get started sometimes, because it's hard to teach a kid not to be shy. And my mom was like, yeah, you would just like talk to strangers, like which I don't do now, but I've always loved being on stage, and I started in dance classes actually when we were in Indonesia really young, and I've always loved like that side of things. I think part of it's because I really like goal setting and working towards something. So like dance is that, like you do something methodically every day to like reach a new skill or reach a new goal or learn a dance or competition. So
definitely.
Yeah.
So what in the whole dance world, there's so many different, okay. Focus. So with the dance world, like you started that first as a performing arts. So like in the dance world now, where are you at? Like, what do you do?
I perform for fun to an extent. It's part of my income. Like I dance for a band that like they perform it. Yeah, they perform at corporate events and weddings and stuff. Like, but it's definitely not like my full-time thing.
And that's just you, like by yourself, or
it's with like a 7-piece band. So there's 2 dancers, a male singer, a female singer, and then brass. What else? Yeah, and then just like the normal band.
Dang, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So that's
fire.
like my fun, like I can do that when I want to without the pressure of it being like my full-time income. Because it's a lot. Like your body cannot, I mean, it's just a lot of like injuries and constant wear and tear.
What's the type of dance? Like
that's like kind of commercial. Like, that's like, you know, they play like top 40, like everything you hear at a wedding,
yeah.
Bruno Mars, like
right. I was about to say Uptown Funk,
Fireball, Uptown Funk, yeah.
Okay.
So it's all those like they're just fun. Like the dancers are kind of there to like hype up the crowd,
right?
It's a really, I mean, they're a great band, and it's really fun to get to like travel and do stuff like that. That's kind of my biggest involvement with the dance world. Once I kind of retired from performing, had to kind of like repair my relationship with dance because it was my major in college.
Right.
And that just got so convoluted of like, this is my career, but it's also like my degree, like I'm being graded on it. It was really high pressure. Like the school I went to is next level for performers. So it was definitely a mental health journey.
I was about to ask, because even with like for some, not only performers, but like anybody that goes for like a career type thing, you know, they kind of identify themselves with what career they do.
Oh, yeah.
So then whenever that career goes away, it's like, then who am I? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%. I had an identity crisis.
Yeah.
Like that was who I was growing up. Like, I was the dancer. Like in high school, it was
People
like, oh,
knew
I can't.
You for dance. Yeah.
Like it's been a huge part of my identity. So I think coming out of that, like I have had to find other areas to identify myself with, which is weird, like being 25 and coming out of my dance career and having to be like, okay, what am I going to do now? Like just expanding past that.
Yeah. And then I guess, I mean, that kind of blends into like that content creator, because you said you started around 2015, 2016.
About when I graduated from college, like, I mean, it's funny, like Instagram was not what it is now. Like, I mean, I've watched social media become an industry. Like I grew up on MySpace. So
same.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that like whole evolution, I always thought it was so interesting that people, even back then, built like careers and businesses were starting to from social media. It's something that always interested me.
Yeah.
I didn't really see like how it could fit into what I was doing because it was so different back then. But I was lucky to already have that kind of interest in it and kind of ability to leverage it as I was coming out of college.
I was kind of in the same situation. Obviously, I am in the same situation. So watching all of it evolve and everything, and I was thinking it was hilarious because it's like the people who like legit built the MySpaces, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, us, you know, creating our top 5, having music and all that kind of the backgrounds, all that kind of thing, right? Those are the same people who businesses are hiring to build their websites.
Like we were doing HTML.
Isn't
like,
that crazy?
Programming.
Coding and all the things.
Like I was 13. Like I was like, it's crazy.
Right. That's hilarious though.
It's such like an interesting evolution of the industry too.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's wild. So 2015, 2016, you getting into content creating. Now you're watching the evolution of, did you start off with Instagram or like, what was the like main actual, obviously you had MySpace and everything before that, but like what was I'm going to be, or maybe, you know, what was the aha moment of I can be a content creator?
Oh, I had a friend, one of my best friends was like a fashion blogger before fashion blogging really like became what it is now or was in the early or the late 2010s. Yeah. And so seeing her like be able to build a career, like she was working with like Keds and she was in Teen Vogue.
For
like,
real.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so I remember seeing her doing that and being like, I want to do that. Like, that's so cool. Yeah. But fashion was not my thing. It's still not my thing. I'm not good at dressing. Like, that's not my passion. So I tried to like do the fashion blogger thing. And it's you're going to get burnt out in something that you're not passionate about.
For real. Yeah.
So I think for me, it was realizing that I already had a lot of skills that I had developed as hobbies, which we were kind of talking about when I first got here. Yeah. With like videography and video and photo editing, like I've always liked that. Like I remember like editing videos and stuff on Photoshop for fun growing up. So I had these skills that were able to go into a career as a content creator.
Kind of came natural to you.
Yeah, it was something I already really enjoyed. I was editing videos for YouTube in 2006, like with my friends. Let's go. Yeah, just for fun. So it was something I already enjoyed. Coming out of school and I started to kind of get into the makeup world because it was something I was interested in, I saw that the people that were most successful were making their own content and doing video content.
Right.
Which back then video was very new still. And so
Which is funny we say back then, but that was like not that long ago.
It was 7 years ago though.
Right.
I mean, Vine still existed. Like
True.
Was before Instagram had video.
Oh, Vine.
So yeah, RIP.
We really missed that.
Yeah. Well, now TikTok's the new Vine pretty much.
True. Very true.
So I kind of saw this shift and saw that video and creating your own content was like really valuable and that I had the skills to do that.
Yeah.
So I just started doing it and everything, it was really bad at first. Like I always tell people like, it's gonna be bad. You just have to start somewhere. And the sooner you start, the closer you're going to get or the faster you're going to get there. But I mean, oh my gosh, some of my stuff is so bad. Like it's so cringy.
Is it still on there?
I think I've deleted some of it.
Okay.
It's shifted so much and like what even performs well on platforms. Like Musically and TikTok used to be all lip syncing and like sped up and weird. And now that's not good. It doesn't do well.
Doesn't it make you wonder like what it's going to be like in 5 more years though? Like that's
it's
going to be wild.
It changes so fast. Like so basically I'm giving a long-winded answer to your question, but I saw the opportunity because I was already passionate about creating as a hobby.
Right.
And I just started doing it. And at the time I was selling makeup to help support myself between dance jobs. And so that just kind of took off into being like, wait, I'm really good at this and I like doing it. And then that kind of shifted into like, wait, I can teach other people how to do this because I taught myself basically.
Yeah.
So that's kind of now my weird shift into like, I've done this thing. Like I've built what I have now to like almost 1 million followers, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
And now I have the ability to like help other people even get a fraction of that can like help support their business and give them another stream of income and like help their families.
Did you like tap into any of like the promotional stuff or is it just all been organic? Like
paid ads?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I tried to do paid ads like on Instagram or Facebook in like 2016. And I think I got my ads account banned because I didn't like read the rules. Real? Yeah, there's like rules about what you can say and
I didn't
stuff.
know that.
Yeah, I think you can't use the word like you. So you can't say like, do you want to do this? You can't like...
Interesting.
One of the things like I talk about is like asking for interaction, like asking for feedback, engaging with people, obviously. And I guess you can't do that on paid ads. Or you couldn't in who knows? I don't know how any of that stuff. I don't do any of the paid side of things.
Right.
I'm more about like organic content, like building your brand. And like showing up in like an authentic way.
That makes it even more genuine whenever, you realize that you built something that's like people are genuinely wanting to follow you. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing forced or anything like that. That's amazing.
It's interesting because I think it's really easy with the way the algorithm works. Like, I mean, we're kind of like at the mercy of a computer.
Right, exactly.
That's distributing our content. But like that many people did push follow. I think that's crazy. It's easy to forget though, because it's like I have videos that don't do well. I have posts that don't do well. So I've like definitely had to attach my like value, detach my value as a creator
to the numbers.
I hear it over and over and over. Like I interview creators and it's such a struggle for people. Yeah. Because like social media, the way it appears is like it's an extension and like projection of who we are. Like I've talked to my therapist a lot about having to like detach who you are from the persona of who you are online because it messes with your brain for sure. Yeah, definitely. I bet. I mean, especially having that many, I mean, we have what we have and it's fun, you know what I'm saying? And you get the genuine engagement and stuff, but like having those type of numbers would be like insane, you know? It's a game. It's all a mental game of having to like be consistent even when things aren't going well. It's a roller coaster. Like I've been hearing creators complain about their views on TikTok since 2016. For real? Yeah. Everyone's always worried about it. What do you think the main reason that they're so upset about? Is it just the numbers, or is it they feel like they're creating the right type of content and it's not getting the right type of plays, or like what are they most concerned with? monetization, like ability to leverage your page for brand deals and monetize it as a form of income.
Yeah.
But I also do think a part of it's like pride. Like it's like, I don't want someone to go to my page and be like, wow, she sucks. Like, and I'll get like trolls that are like, oh, you bought all your followers. Like,
really?
Yeah, people are really hateful, man. I mean,
they're behind the screen, right?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I could really go into all the bullying and stuff, but
let's get into it.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's part of it's the pride of like, I don't want people to think I suck. And you have to detach yourself from that. Like,
right.
There's going to be stuff that performs bad. There just is.
Yeah, that's real. And you were even telling us to get our stuff in check and get on TikTok. I was like, all right, sorry, Victoria. But yeah, like I think you're right. So even let's go into the TikTok world, okay? So let's Blues can too, we can too dive into this real fast. So like with even with somebody, let's say, because even earlier you were saying that everybody's a beginner when it comes to TikTok, right? So what's some like pointers that you could say, do's or don'ts of TikTok? We'll go into that. We'll say 3 do's and don'ts of TikTok.
Okay.
From Victoria.
Number 1 is full screen vertical content. Like you cannot post square videos. Like, yes, sometimes there's videos that perform well like that, but it's the exception to the rule. So everything needs to be full screen, no watermarks, and you need to own the content. Like if you're reposting content from whatever, it's not going to perform well because the algorithm knows that.
Right.
2 is research and pay attention to what other people are doing in your space. Like every time before I post, I'm looking and seeing like what other similar posts did, like what their caption was, what song they used, like what people are asking in their comments, like how I can utilize the information I'm being given. Like it's literally telling me how to be successful. So just being observant.
Yeah.
And 3 is being consistent and just showing up and doing it. Like, I think I saw someone say that statistically, if you post 40 videos on TikTok, like one of them will not go viral, but will get more distributed, like to a wider audience.
More distributed.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. That's good. So with, you say, how many videos do you think you post a day?
Oh man. Because I've been doing this for so long at this point. I'm kind of like spread thin across what I'm doing career wise. So I really don't post as much as I used to. Yeah. I used to post 2 to 3 times a day.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's evolved. And I think there's people out there that are going to be like, you have to post 8 times a day to be successful. But at the end of it, the most important thing is posting quality content. So if I was posting 8 terrible videos, like they're not going to get seen by people. But
right.
A lot of the stuff I do is like projects, so it takes me a little bit longer, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And they still perform well. Like,
are you like building stuff, or what is it you're doing project wise?
Like DIY stuff. Just, it's funny because my first like really, really, really viral video was me trying to make a bucket stool. It was like a stool made out of cement and like rods, basically like wooden dowels from Home Depot. And I kept messing it up, which most people would take that footage and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't do it right. I can't post this. But I kept posting me messing it up. And they were just like getting millions of views of people being like, no, do it this way. Do it this way. So I kind of started with like weird, quirky DIY stuff and have evolved. And that stuff I genuinely enjoy doing in real life. So
right.
It's something I can like document and share that is a hobby of mine. Right.
And I feel like even the mess up makes it more of like you're a real person.
Oh yeah.
It's not like, oh, Victoria knows how to DIY everything. Yeah.
I definitely don't.
Right. It brings it more, more genuine. I think it's cool, like intentional. And that's the hard thing to be, is intentional with a social media, platform. I feel like, because it's like you're really just pushing something out there to promote your lifestyle, right? And then you're kind of connected with a couple people, but what's the most way that you feel like you've been able to be intentional with like that many followers?
Like be intentional in the way I connect with people?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's interesting because the posts where I feel like I've connected with people the most are my worst performing videos.
Really?
But it's because those are ones I keep up because I care about them. Like I don't care how many people see it.
Yeah.
It's the engagement I'm getting on it from
Got
like
you.
this fly.
Right. I'm gonna get 'em.
Like the posts I've done about like eating disorder stuff and like mental health. Like the times that I've been like I'm really struggling, or the times that I almost had it.
I swear that like went
That was
into your
close.
hands
Yeah.
and then flew right out. It like matrixed out of it. You're like ping ponging this
know.
thing. That's
I
amazing.
hit it once. Yeah, I think it's being aware and showing up and interacting and being authentic.
Yeah.
One thing I've been very interested in lately is the difference between being vulnerable for attention and being vulnerable to help people.
Yes. Talk on it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I recently went through a pretty intense divorce and I have not
Really?
talked about it at all on my social media because I don't feel like it would be productive for me to do so. But you see people.
I would do the same thing. That's why I'm
Yeah.
laughing. Yeah, that's crazy.
People,
Wow.
you know, just showing up, and there's definitely things I could have done and said this time last year that would have been hurtful to everyone in the situation
Yeah.
and not made me feel any better. And once you put something on the internet, it's there forever.
It's
So
there forever, yeah.
yeah, I think that it's something that I'm thinking a lot more about. Like, I think we see these people who are really like free and can just say whatever they want online, but like we're not thinking about how that's affecting people in their real life, like the other people in that situation. So it's an interesting dynamic with TikTok. Like I do appreciate people talking about their experiences, but I feel like it has to be done in a way that is helpful and not done to justify yourself or like get affirmation, if that makes sense.
Definitely. And there's got to be a balance of like just being conscious of everything. And I feel like those people who are quote unquote free or just like whatever, it's like they honestly don't care about the repercussions for somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, in that sense. And so it's like, you know, for us, you know, or people like us or whatever, you know, that are out there, they actually genuinely care, you know what I'm saying? And that's dope. And but being able to also balance that in your personal life too.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to say it here, you're also not probably going to say it social media wise, you know, or you're not going to say it off camera too. So it's like being able to find that balance that you can be able to talk to somebody. And you said you created a good community around you outside of your therapist. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. My friends, I'm so lucky. Like I've had the same like core group of girlfriends since I was like 14 or 13. Like we met in high school and we've stayed connected. And like one of my friend's moms is in the hospital right now and we bought her a plane ticket to go see her mom because it's really expensive for her to go.
It's amazing.
So like not everyone has friends that can do that. Like
Definitely.
it's just, I feel really lucky to have such a supportive community. So that's been really big. And even with TikTok and like social media in general, it is such a unique career that like for career stuff, I can't really go to my friends. Like they have normal jobs, like they're in sales, they're doctors, you know, like they're in a different industry, but having a community of people in my career too is so valuable. Like being able to say like, hey, like, how would you handle this situation? Or like, what do you guys think about this? Like, which is kind of one reason I started my podcast is because I wanted to connect with other creators because it is a new industry and we're all like,
figuring it out.
Yeah, we're all figuring it out. And I wanted to be able to be a resource for people coming into it, but also for me to connect with other creators because I mean, I still don't know everything.
Right. Yeah. What's the biggest thing that you've learned so far that's been able to, you know, kind of either propel your, because like I feel like there's got to be a point in time where you were like maybe at, you know, $250,000 or $500,000 or something, and you're still like, there's no way I'll get to $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Was there any of that cross in your mind, or you're just like, nah, I'm gonna do this one day?
Oh man, it's hard to think back. I feel like it all happens so fast, but I think the biggest thing I've learned that like I think about a lot is no one knows what they're doing. Like, and that's one thing Chris was saying when we've interviewed creators here for the live episodes of my podcast or like the in-person studios.
Yeah.
he was like, no one knows what they're doing. And I was like, yeah, like there's people with 2, 3, 5, 10 million followers that it happened and then now they're playing catch up. So I think no one quite has it figured out.
In the sense of like posting, or in the sense of like how to create?
I think they know how to create, but it's like the business.
Got you. Yeah.
And the mental health side of it. Like you see it every day. Creators are like, I'm taking a break. Like I'm struggling, or like I can't, like I'm not creative. I'm on I'm burnt out. Like burnout is like so common. The things that I feel like come up the most is burnout, mental health, and managing yourself as a business.
Yeah. Like that's real.
You hear the same things over and over and over.
It's like I'm just assuming, but like I feel like people just forget to live. You know what I'm saying? They're posting so much about living, but it's like outside of that we don't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, that was like a big wake up call for me. And like going through my divorce was like this freaking, we're gonna get it. We need one of those fly swatters that's the zappers.
Like, yeah.
Yes. The tennis racket thing.
So like one thing I posted, like when I was going through that, I still haven't posted about it online ever, but you have to prioritize your real life.
Definitely. Like
you can't just post this picture perfect image of your life and like think that fixes it. Yeah. Which on paper we understand, but I think especially working in this industry, you have to like walk the walk. Like it's not a fix all. Like no matter how happy you look online, like you have to address your real life. Yeah. So that's kind of been my journey is like getting my real life in check, because I can't show up for other people if I'm just like drowning behind the scenes. So that's kind of been my journey these last like 18 months, 2 years, is like figuring out myself, making sure I'm on the right path. Like, cause there was a point in content creation for me where I was chasing views. I was doing stuff just to go viral. It was those like early days of TikTok where, you do the fake pranks and like, it's like, that's not me. That's not what I want to be known for. So having to take that shift and realize losing views because of that is fine. I would rather have people follow me for me than for some dumb fake prank I did that got 10 million views or whatever. Right. Yeah, that's real. I feel like that just went like, woo, all over the place. I bet impractical jokers are probably like, dang, she's right. I need to stop making these jokes. But some people love doing that. No, like, that's real. Yeah, for sure. It's just not my brand. Right. I feel you. And we actually interviewed one of my good friends. His name is Chris Conway, and he's I Am Nice Kid on Instagram, or no, on TikTok. Yeah. And he's a pretty, I can't remember how many he's got. He's probably got like 500,000, maybe something. Maybe 600. Yeah, it's pretty up there. But and he's saying the same things, you know what I'm saying? Like even brands are hitting him up to do like brand content or sponsorships or anything like that. And it's like being able to like disconnect is really difficult for him, that he's seen, right? And so I couldn't imagine, you know what I'm saying, like somebody like you know, being up to like almost 1 million, and then also people even lower than that, you know what I'm saying? People just really find validation in the virtual world. And it's like, but there's still a disconnect, you know what I'm saying? Like where you really haven't figured out yourself yet. So I'm gonna have to be on my phone to figure out who I am and like validate myself through views. And you cannot let the internet dictate who you are either, because I feel like people do that with TikTok, like just from like a business branding perspective. They'll start posting videos, and whatever performs well, they keep doing that. Right. Instead of like, what do I want to create? Like, what am I going to feel good about being like my legacy? Right. Like, I think it's just interesting because like you said, people kind of, no matter what your size is, like that's what I've realized is no matter what your size of your following, you're facing the same struggles. Like I have the same problems I did when I had less than 10,000 followers on Instagram. Like And it is so, it sounds like crazy for me to tell a creator that has, you know, less than 1,000 followers that they're going to have the same struggles that I have with over 100,000. But like, it's true.
Yeah.
You have time management. You have like the fear of people not liking it. You have trolls. You have the fear of it not performing well. Like,
and if not more, because like people are going to expect more out of you.
I say
know?
that, but like, it sounds like not conceited, but it sounds like looking a gift horse in the mouth. Like, it's like I have these millions of followers, but like I'm not millions, but you know, I have a lot of people watching my content.
Let's say it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I'm more scared to post sometimes than if no one was watching.
So you have to put it through filters in your mind of like,
yeah, it's
what's
a
going to
game.
happen if I do this? What are they going to think of this? Boom, boom, boom. Like yeah.
That's why you see people. Like there's this girl, she's a single mom. She has twins. I think her name's Maya on TikTok. She blew up like just by being relatable and just talking to the camera, like talking about her life.
Yeah.
She made a second account because she said she started to get anxiety posting on her main account, has millions of followers, because she felt like every video had to perform well and she couldn't just do what she used to do because now she makes money from it.
Wow.
So it's like even really successful creators feel like they can't mess up or like that they feel like everything has to perform well. It's like this like hyper pressure that like, well, if this video doesn't do well, I'm not going to be able to get as much brand deals. I'm not going to be able to support myself. Like,
yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I've wondered too, like, I mean, cause, you know, the mental health thing, I get it, Victoria. I'm gonna get it eventually. I swear. I know you are. So like, even with the, you know, the whole coming out of COVID or even during COVID, like TikTok just blew up and went nuts. Right. And so, but even coming out of that is like, even mental health has gone skyrocketed for like conversation purposes. Right. And so, and we've been on it like since 2017, but like, you know, the whole conversation has shifted because it's so, it's just become such a big issue. Right. And so, but then also you parallel it with social media. Social media has taken off as well. And then if we're seeing social media take off and then mental health take off as well, like what are these parallels? Or do you think that it could be play a part in it or what?
Did you watch the documentary, what is it called? Social Dilemma on Netflix? Oh my gosh, you need to watch it. It's like this.
Right. You're right.
That's what you're doing. This.
Right.
They talk about there's studies that have been done that show that people genuinely feel worse when they get off of Instagram. Like
crazy.
they feel worse about not just themselves. Like they just feel like, I don't remember. Don't
like
quote me on this.
Someone
Google. So we need someone to Google. Fact check me. Like it's they feel worse. Instagram makes them feel worse. And platforms like TikTok that are more authentic. I don't think this was in the documentary, but I've seen this statistic somewhere. People feel genuinely better when they're leaving apps like TikTok.
Really?
Yeah. Well, TikTok. But now every app's trying to copy TikTok, which is a whole nother thing. But
talk your talk. Let's go. Yeah.
That's a whole nother side of things.
Right.
Like trying to copy that authenticity. But and TikTok is shifting too. Like it's all evolving, but generally the types of people we see get famous from TikTok. And my favorite thing about it is that they're like real normal people,
really?
Which is why I started the podcast. I was like, do these people know? Like, do they know how cool they are and interesting? And like, do they know that they're posting things the right way at the right time? Like, are they trying to do this or is it just happening? And
right.
The magic of TikTok is that like, it can just happen to normal people. Like Instagram was this more, what's the word? More, polished,
right? Cookie cutter type thing.
And we're even still seeing that, like with Reels versus TikTok. So yes, to answer your question, I do think social media plays a huge part in mental health. The disconnect too from seeing how your words affect someone is very interesting to me too. Like, I mean, we talked a little bit about like bullying and trolls and there's like words I have to filter on my TikToks. People are so mean, like for no reason. Like
you have to filter? What do you mean?
People love to make fun of my eyebrows. Okay. I don't know. My voice is something that people don't like. I get told like like I don't know how to say it like in a nice way.
What's wrong with your voice?
I have vocal fry, which is something I think like Joe Rogan complains about women having. So like then people now know what it is to complain about it.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
What is it? It's like
a raspiness. Like at the end of my words, like it's like, like vocal fry is like the, that like sitting back in your throat. It's not great for your voice, but like,
got you.
That's how I talk. I don't know. Sorry, everyone. Like,
I didn't even know it was a thing.
It
like,
is.
Oh, dang.
But
okay.
now you'll notice it sometimes. Like if it's really apparent in someone, I do notice it. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
But I'm also not going to be like, I hate your voice.
Right.
Stop
exactly.
talking.
Right.
You know, like
is that something you can fix for me?
Yeah.
No.
I always say if it's not something someone can fix in the next 5 seconds, like there's no need to comment on it.
Right. Yeah.
Like if I have lipstick on my teeth, tell me.
Of course.
But if you hate my teeth,
right.
That's going to take 12 to 18 months to fix. So like,
right,
it's
like be patient.
It's not productive. Like
right.
I think that like separation from seeing how your words impact someone does. I mean, we've seen that since MySpace.
Right,
like it's been evolving.
Yeah. And it's been like that since like everybody's had a keyboard. You can say something behind a screen. And that's something that we've seen whenever we go into schools, and I know you don't know too much about Gen Y, but I'll go ahead and inform you real fast.
Yeah, give me the elevator pitch.
So yeah, Generation Y, WHY, we actually go into schools all over the nation and talking about anti-bullying, suicide prevention, and mental health. And we do it through the creative arts. So we have rappers, dancers, spoken word artists, and motivational speakers.
Very cool.
And a live DJ, all the things. So like we legit go in, set up a whole thing, and change the environment for the students.
I love that.
And so it's very lit. It's very fun. But we go in and catch their attention with the arts, but then follow it up with our testimonials or our life. You know what I'm saying? And then how we've dealt with mental health and all the things.
Yeah.
So,
no, I think that's so valuable.
Yeah. So that's what we do. Yeah.
I can't imagine, like I've said this so many times. I mean, I'm 30 on TikTok and it affects my mental health. Like I obviously like try not to let it, but there are things that are stressful or,
definitely
play a part in my day-to-day life. I cannot imagine what it's like right now growing up with Snapchat and Instagram and Finstas and TikTok and
whoa, hold on, what is this?
You don't know what a Finsta is? You guys talk to high schoolers and you don't know what a Finsta is?
Listen, we talk to them, but we talk about important things, Victoria. Okay,
a Finsta.
Like, hey, you want to do well in your life? Let's talk about it.
Okay,
what's a Finsta?
So a Finsta, I feel like this is like some teenager's gonna watch this and be like, this old lady, because like this is gonna be probably not like
they're probably saying the same thing about me. This old man, dude.
So, from my understanding, it's a private account you make that is anonymous, but the only people that follow it are people you allow to. So it's kind of like a close friend story. Yes.
Okay.
And it's not like public. Like it's kind of like a group chat. I don't know how to explain it. It's exclusive.
Okay.
And the only people that can see it are people that you allow to see it.
You don't have to pay for it?
No, it's Instagram. It's a private Instagram account. So people will have like their public facing account that's like, whatever, normal life stuff. But then they'll have a Finsta that's like kind of like a burner account, I guess. It's anonymous. The only people that are following it and you follow are people you allow to see it.
So what's the content that you post? Is just like random or is it like just you?
It's stuff like you can't put public.
Got you. Okay.
I think that can look different ways, but like,
so that's pretty much just an account, a private account on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
A lot of celebrities use them.
Yeah.
Like they have their public one they use for all their fans, and then like their friends and family follow their fake or their burner second account.
Finstas. Say it right, bro. Say it. Finstas.
Well, like typically it's not like associated with you visually, if that makes sense. Like you don't have pictures of yourself on it, I think, or like it's more anonymous. Some of them could be public and are burner accounts, like just don't have photos of you. I hope I'm like explaining this right. I might be wrong, but from my understanding of it, it's an anonymous account, and the only people that know it's you are your close friends.
Right. Okay.
I also found out a lot about the close friends stories that apparently people use that now for like dating, kind of. Like you put people on your close friends that you're like interested in.
Okay.
So then you'll be like,
let's talk about it.
Dude, I don't know. Like it's weird. I had no idea.
Right,
the
right.
stuff I put on my close friends is like me, like with no makeup on, being like, like it's like weird stuff that I don't want to be public, but I want to communicate to my like close friends.
Right. I always thought it was fun to like just post like random stuff only my close friends would think was funny.
Yes.
And
yeah.
so like, yeah, that's, I feel like that's
or
what it was.
it's like, I don't know, a little bit more
like dark humor.
Yeah, the stuff that like I wouldn't want people to like.
I'm about to put Victoria in my close.
Yeah,
friends
really.
so
I'm like, you want to see my like my dark memes that I post on there that are like accounts that like people shouldn't know that I follow. Yeah,
things, man. I love those things.
It's like I don't want my therapist to see this, so I want my close friends to see it.
I would have with my mom, but you know.
Yeah.
Cool,
I had to take my mom off my close friends. Sorry.
She was on it.
Yeah, because it was at first like life stuff, and then now it's evolved.
It's evolved. I'm a grown person.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So,
but that's nice of you that you put her on your close friends.
She replies to all my Instagram stories.
That's precious.
Yeah,
like with the emojis or actually replying.
Both.
She loves you, dude.
I
crazy.
know. My parents
That's
are obsessed
awesome.
with me.
That's awesome. It's because we're the only children.
I know.
You know,
like I try to explain to people, I'm like, no, my parents are obsessed with me, but they're also like the best humans in the whole world.
Same.
Yeah, with Instagram, like my mom responded to my story from yesterday. I went and saw Panic at the Disco on Sunday, which is like, I'm an emo kid for life.
Where
like
was this
it was
at?
not a phase, Mom. In Fort Worth. They played at the Dickies Arena.
Goodness.
Yeah, so first time seeing them ever.
What was your favorite album though?
Oh, the first one, Fever You Can't Sweat Out.
Really? I don't know. I really like the second. It was inspired by the Beatles, pretty much.
The 9 in the Afternoon. What is that album called?
I was trying to
Pretty odd. Pretty odd.
Pretty odd. Something. I thought.
I don't know.
You're right.
Something like that.
But pretty odd. I love that
yeah,
one.
they barely played anything from the first two albums. But like that first album was like
rough.
core memory for me. Like I had it on a boombox that I like listened to in middle school.
You carried it? Did you carry it?
No, it was just
On
like
your
in my room.
shoulder?
That would have been so impressive.
Outside, no. Yeah, I remember
And
like
you were a dancer. That would have been hilarious. You should just pull
Would
it.
have been fantastic.
no, not that kind of dancer. I did ballet.
Oh, never
Way
mind.
different. Yeah, no, like that was like a core memory for me. Anyway, I remember
yeah.
begging my parents to let me see Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy. They were opening for Fall Out Boy in 2005.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And my parents wouldn't let me go on a school night.
Oh wow.
And I posted about it on my story, and my mom responded and was like, "You turned out fine." I was like,
Why are you
Thanks,
complaining,
Mom.
Victoria? We
"I
did
just had to
great
wait
with you.
18 years to see them. It's fine."
That's hilarious. Who do they perform for? Or they didn't open, obviously, but
No, it was like an arena tour.
That's amazing.
Actually, Beach Bunny, which is like, some of their songs went really viral on TikTok, like Prom Queen and, gosh, I don't know the name of the song, but everyone would recognize it. And then this performer, John Wesley, I want to say it has Wesley in his name and John in his name somewhere, who looks like
John Wesley. He has
something.
Wesley and
I'm probably
John
thinking
somewhere
John
in
Wesley
there.
because I.
What if it's like Wood John Slee or
No,
something?
it's two separate names. He's a 3 name.
That's amazing.
And looks like Elton John and like does Elton
Really?
John-esque vibes,
That's dope.
iconic like outfits and
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good concert. That
That's
was like
dope.
a way
No, I love it. Yeah.
off topic, but yeah.
That's tight. Yeah. I love Panic at the Disco too. That's why I was.
No,
yeah.
emo,
We had to
that
get
whole
into it,
like
Yeah.
we've seen a resurgence of emo lately because of social media. And
I've been
because-
wondering how that turnaround is gonna look. You know, how are we gonna revert back? Because everything's always gonna be recycled. So if everybody's looking at 30 or above ages and be like, why are you wearing that? You should wear what your age group is supposed to. We started the 90 vibe, dude. Don't even play with us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyways,
I want
don't
like
get me
MySpace
started.
scene and emo to come back so bad.
For real.
I want to
Okay.
see girls with like absolutely like
Terrible hair.
rat's
Yeah.
nest. I want them to
To
go
freight
through.
it up, right?
Yes, I
had
want
a
them
5th grade
to suffer.
teacher teach us how to do that.
Oh my
What?
Our
gosh.
5th grade teacher taught us how to do that. Yeah. It was hilarious.
Wait, when did you graduate?
Where?
When did you graduate from high school?
2010.
Okay, yeah, so we're like same like vibe. I graduated in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a time. Like you can't even explain it to people now.
Definitely. Where dudes had to straighten their bangs.
And they didn't make skinny jeans for men.
So we had to wear girl jeans.
Yeah,
I was already there.
Hollister girls skinny jeans were like
Yeah.
it.
I
in my
went
high
to thrift
school.
stores.
Oh, smart. Thrift stores are not the same anymore either. You can't find real denim there. It's all like the weird stretch
because
stuff.
it's become trendy. You know what I'm saying? When things become trendy, they become expensive.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
even
Inflation.
Goodwills.
No, Goodwill is
Goodwills are like
Goodwill is
$5 to
stupid
$10. It's
no,
like what?
no.
This
the
isn't a thrift
Goodwills
store.
in Oklahoma City are unhinged. They are out of control.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I saw a used Victoria's Secret like slip, which like a lot of people wear those as dresses, like they're kind of
Right.
like the silky short, for like $20
At a Goodwill.
at a Goodwill.
They know what they're doing. They know
Wild.
what
They
they're
get
doing.
it for free.
Right.
It's a really good business plan.
It
You
is
really-
upsetting.
Right, it really
Which
is,
like
though.
okay, it
You
goes
know-
like a good cause to an extent, but like
Does it though?
Where?
they employ
Where?
people with disabilities.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, they do. They do.
I mean, for sure.
All those people, man.
most
Like
of
March
them
of
that I've gone
Dimes,
to-
Goodwill, like all those people, man. Like
Most
there's
of them.
just so much going on behind the scenes. It's
Bro,
just
there's
like,
got
ugh.
to be.
Well, like
There's
nonprofits aren't. Well, they're not a nonprofit, are they? I don't know.
I don't know.
March of Dimes, they 10% of what they make goes to their actual causes. The rest
10%?
goes to the CEO.
I need to open a thrift store.
Bro,
That
for real.
apparently is
do
my
it.
next business venture.
That would actually be just call it Victoria. Everything's Victoria.
Oh,
that would be
man.
kind of tight.
Hey, it'd probably work.
And then call it Victoria Thrift. Yeah.
I like started actually like in
That was
COVID.
that was a good idea.
There we go.
almost
Yeah,
had
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I almost had it.
That.
We're gonna move on.
Anyway, I like got into like the thrifting and flipping stuff during COVID.
Yeah.
Because
It's a
like
thing.
I was like struggling with like I was making money in performing and I do wedding makeup and like all that
Right.
stuff. Like
Everything was live.
social media came in the time of my life when like I was almost flat broke because
Wow.
everything was shutting down. Like,
Yeah.
so that's why I am so passionate about like helping people use this as a business because there is opportunity and you do not have to have 1 million followers to make money.
Yeah.
Like most of my income started out on social media when I had less than 10,000 followers. Like it's possible.
Really?
It's so possible.
Wow.
It just takes like the grit and the consistency and like putting yourself out there and being passionate about it. It's definitely not for everyone, but
Right.
the people that feel drawn to it, it's like you're drawn to it for a reason. So I think you should
Try
jump
it
into
out.
it and try it
Yeah.
out. But yeah, I think social media just offers that opportunity with like very low cost of entry.
Definitely,
Which you
yeah.
don't see very often in business.
There's hardly any overhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
besides your phone payment.
right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, you can get a nice light or get good lighting, you know, and then you're good to go.
Even
So-
natural lighting, a window.
Exactly.
Most creators start out with nothing.
Get a window.
Yeah, like just stand in front of an open doorway. Like
That's hilarious.
it's true though.
No, that's real. Yeah. So with everything now, I mean, we'll get into the whole, you know, you create your stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then now you're actually outsourcing your editing, or how's this going?
I think the biggest thing I've gotten burnt out on over the years is editing. Like I love video editing. I
Yeah.
really do like the process of it, especially when I get to be like creative with something. Like I
Right.
had an ad I did for Timex for Stranger Things.
Really?
Where I made it look like I was getting like possessed by Vecna. Like that.
Really?
And I love that stuff. That's not my typical content. So it doesn't
yeah.
perform as well, but like the client really liked it and they used it
Yeah.
on their pages.
That's dope.
That's more like the creative side of it. The more utility side of it is like, if it's going to prevent me from posting, I just need to have someone else do it because that's what I've gotten bogged down with the most recently. Since I've relaunched my podcast as a video podcast, I did that with the idea that like podcasts are very big on social media right now. Like
Yeah.
I want my message and everything to be seen by a wider audience. Like podcasts are going viral on TikTok. People are watching it there. So I need to get that content out to TikTok quickly and efficiently. So now I am partnering with a new startup here in Oklahoma City that is helping me produce the content essentially and get it
Yeah.
distributed.
That's dope.
Which I always say, like, if something doesn't take your personality, then you need to outsource it eventually. Like you do start out doing everything yourself. Like
Yeah.
creators are kind of a one-stop shop. But the thing that has kept me from being so much farther than I am today is not being able to delegate, like being a control freak about it,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Because if you are, I guess, waiting and holding on to stuff instead of getting it out there, like it's not helping you, you know?
Yeah, definitely. That's the biggest thing for us too.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the biggest thing for every creator.
Right. And that's the thing too. You said it, that like the content creators do everything.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing for us is like, and you kind of try to build a trust with somebody. Like that's hard. You're sending some content over to somebody. Hopefully we get it back and it's nice,
Good.
you know, and the way that you want it, you know, like that's difficult. So we're gonna get
this
it.
fly. No, one thing I'll say on that is I've realized I've worked alone so long that I am not good at communicating business wise with like employees and I've had to realize I need to like chill to an extent because it's been just me for so long. Like bringing someone else in has been hard because I'm trying to communicate exactly what I want, but like, it's in a workplace environment, like you have to be efficient at communication in that sense. And I like haven't had to do that in so long that I'm like trying to figure out how to communicate and
definitely
get it done.
And that's difficult too because like I mean that's whenever we stop learning how to run the business and we're just trying to just put something out there. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to put a Band-Aid on a wound pretty much. And it's like, okay, hopefully they'll like that.
That's why I think creators stay in this hamster wheel of like, I have to do everything by myself for so long. I wish I had hired a personal assistant 5 years ago.
Really?
I need like, it would help me so much. But I had like this scarcity mindset of like, I don't want to pay someone else to do that when I could just do it. But it was, you only have so much mental energy in a day. And if you're spending it doing things that you don't need to be the one doing, like you could be growing at such a faster pace. It's just scary to invest in, I guess. But I've had to just bet on myself at this point, be like, I'm just going to pay for it. And I know that it's worth my time.
Real. Yeah, that's real. That's just like the phrase, you know what I'm saying? I can't remember where it comes from. I say it all the time though, but you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, right? And so it's like there's a power in numbers for real. So
it's a balance too though. Because if you don't go fast at some point, like you're not going to get started, you know? You can't wait until you have the perfect team to get started. Everyone starts alone. And then you kind of build it from there.
Everyone starts alone.
They do.
That's fire. That's
unless
real.
you like create.
That's
with
deep.
A team.
That's what if first hearing that, you're not gonna really think about it. But like everyone does start alone. That's deep.
Yeah, like you cannot rely on someone else to build your business, I guess, or build your brand online too. And but then that even stems to like the behind the scenes part. Like I had to work on myself to be able to even move forward from like where I got just through moving fast alone, you know?
Yeah, that's real. That's crazy. Everyone starts alone.
It's true deep, though.
Dude. Dang. Okay.
Man, I didn't know we were going to get like a philosophy.
Hey,
like,
that's what we're here for. That is what we're here for.
No, I think that this is like super powerful though, because I think like you guys going into schools and talking about like mental health and that I think is like a scarier conversation for teenagers to have with each other. I think like as adults, we're a lot more confident in our experiences to an extent. Yeah.
I mean, it's like sorry, go ahead.
It's easier for us to talk about than when you're like 15
and another thing too, like that's probably why it's easier to digest for a kid if they see an influencer, quote unquote, talk about it, you know, instead of a parent, instead of a teacher or whatever, they're able to virtually see somebody that they're not even connected to. Right. But let's say, you know, somebody like GNWY came into their school, interrupted their whole atmosphere, came into their, you know, school, blew our mind, but then also like connected with me personally. Right. So now they want to, in a sense, now turn around and see us online, you know what I'm saying? See how we handle situations, see how, you know, lifestyle wise, whatever, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I think that I wish that we had that whenever we were in school. You know what I'm saying? In a sense of like, I see where it definitely is unhealthy. That's, you know, obviously a given. But like, I wish that me, Jordan, you know, as an only child, you know, but then also trying to navigate. I was friends with everybody, right? I don't fit in anywhere, but I also fit in everywhere.
That's kind of how I felt growing up too. I learned how to like adapt.
Yeah, exactly. And you had to, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't know initially who you really are yet, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but you love everything else. But at the end of the day, I figured out that I just love people, you know? And then that's where I started to see the connecting point of it all. And so, anyway, but that's something that I feel like I would have had back then to help out that journey of school.
I said earlier that I can't imagine growing up right now, like with social media as this huge, like looming influence in daily life. But at the same time, even like as an adult, like I feel less alone in a lot of stuff that I've gone through, seeing other people talk about their experiences and share their experiences, which like takes a lot of vulnerability and is scary. But even just seeing diverse body types, I think for me growing up, like I really struggled with like my self-image. And I mean, the early 2000s, like the cool thing was to literally be a twig. And like it was Tumblr era too. Like everyone was starving themselves. And growing up with that influence, there's so many of us like in my generation that are just traumatized by the media calling Jessica Simpson fat when she was a size like 8. Like I think there's so much opportunity with social media. We just have to leverage it in the right way. And I think stuff like this is helping.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot of bad stuff out there too, but people also get to choose what they consume. And I think we're realizing more and more that the algorithm is not always sharing things with us that are beneficial for us. So like making that decision, like, hey, I'm not going to consume this content. Like I want to consume things that are positive and build me up and not stuff that makes me feel worse about myself.
Oh yeah, for sure. I even saw this one video, which is really random, I know, but you were talking about the algorithm giving you stuff that they may not, whatever. Anyway, but the video was saying, it was this dude that was talking about how, you know, I don't know if it is, so this is the old guy talking apparently, but like China pretty much created, you know, the TikTok, right? Is this true? You probably have more insider than I do.
It's more nuanced than that. But like, yes, ByteDance is owned by, ByteDance is a Chinese company and they own TikTok.
Got you.
Yes.
Okay. So they were saying in this video, they were like, the way to like rule a nation or break down a nation is to give them the type of content that they will not, that they'll be behind on. So like in a sense, apparently this is what the video is saying. So this
I
is
think
not
I've
me.
heard this.
So it's saying like, you know, everybody from America pretty much is seeing and is going to be pushed like all the
dumb
pranks.
content.
All this kind of stuff.
But you're pushed
And then-
what you consume. So if that's what you're consuming, that's what you're going to see. My For You page is like mental health stuff, like relationship, like stuff. Like I get a lot of like women's health stuff.
Okay,
like,
so it's not,
Yeah,
okay.
I consume mostly educational content. Like if you go down my feed, it's I'm learning stuff. I do get some entertaining stuff.
Let's go.
But like to me, that's like what I like consuming. If people are consuming weird prank videos all the time, they're going to get more prank videos. Like,
right.
That's why I did see, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I did see that where people are talking about.
I think it's interesting. I've never like done my research on it. So I just was like, I was wondering, maybe, you know.
I think it's really easy for us to like blame other countries for the state of America right now. But I can honestly say, I think it's to our own detriment. Like, we wanted life to be like so cushy and easy, and the easier and cushier it's gotten, everyone's gotten even more miserable. Like it's not great. Like I think it's easy for us to be like, oh, well, China's sending us crappy content. So that obviously that's why everyone's dumb. Like it's not unknown that every other nation is smarter than us right now. Like we're right. Like America's not leading in sciences and technology anymore. Like it's not other people's fault. It's our fault. Like, it's because I mean, there's a lot of factors, but like education has, I feel like kind of deteriorated and you know, everything's controversial now. Like, I mean, I won't get into a lot of it. Like Texas, it's pretty crazy with like the stuff they're trying to teach and not teach in schools. Like,
oh yeah.
So
that's kind of bad, kind of like here in Oklahoma.
oh,
right
I'm
now.
sure it is. Yeah. Oh, we're like, we're neighbors.
Right.
It's a little crazy.
Y'all
so
could be your own nation, though. To be honest,
I feel like this is not good to tell high schoolers, but like, I feel like high school and education is more of just like, teaching you how to be an employee one day. Essentially, like you're learning how to be in an office.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would love to see an education system that like caters people's actual interests and abilities. Like, I have terrible ADHD. Sitting in a desk all day, I could not learn as much as I do when I'm like talking to people and learning and doing things. Like,
being hands-on. Yeah,
it would be so incredible for people to be able to like learn from their strengths and like, but I felt so dumb growing up. Like, I did not get good grades. Like, I struggled. Like, I mean, I eventually did, but like, it was a journey. Like,
that same 5th grade teacher made me like sit on a like in a corner and with like a barrier around me, so like I couldn't like listen to everybody
like with
else.
the folders.
Yes,
I would get like isolated. Like, they were like, Victoria like talks too much in class. Like, and I'm like, you put me next to like kids. I want to hang out with them. Like,
right. Exactly.
But I love talking.
Social butterfly.
Like, I love talking to people. Like, I find people so interesting and fascinating, and that's like something I enjoy doing. So, like, why didn't I get to take speech classes and like debate and stuff like that?
Exactly. Exactly. It's crazy. Like that's what it is. It's a system. And like, we're trying to, and I feel like giving the benefit of the doubt, they're trying to figure it out.
I agree.
But
like,
it is mixed up, and it's hard.
I think that's why you see the emergence of trade schools right now.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I went to a trade school in high school.
Yeah.
What I am doing right now, I did not need a $150,000 degree to do.
Definitely
I went to
not.
a private school. I mean, don't even get me started on the cost of college and loans and everything.
So
like,
bad.
Imagine giving an 18-year-old a $100,000 loan for a car.
Crazy.
That would never happen.
Right.
Why are we telling, especially people in the performing arts industry, hey, this is a job that makes a median salary of $30,000 a year, but like your degree is going to cost you $150,000, and then you're going to pay those loans until you die. Like,
keep dancing.
yeah, like, but good luck, have fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so
that's
interesting.
real.
I do think it's shifting now, though. Like, so many more people, like you said, trade schools.
Yeah.
We're realizing, like, our parents' generation, I don't remember who I was talking to about this, but like 20, 30 years ago, the only way for you to get a higher education was go to college. I can learn what they're teaching in college classes on YouTube right now for free, or like Khan Academy, or even there's so many free resources, Teachable. Like, and back in our parents' time period, you couldn't do that. So you had to go to college for a higher education.
Magazines, the radio, all the things.
If you wanted expanded education in a certain area, you had to go to school, but that is not the case anymore. So like social media and the internet is so exciting in that aspect, is that people can learn.
Yeah.
And degrees are less needed now, like or required.
Oh yeah.
Even higher degrees. I mean, there's some that are like minor, like associates or bachelors, but like anything higher than that, it's not like,
unless you're like doctor, lawyer, stuff like that. Like, I mean, Google, Apple, all those companies, like, they don't even require degrees anymore.
Which is awesome. Like, I was looking the other day. I mean, I've kind of worked for myself in social media for a long time. I have worked behind the scenes. Like, a way I kind of realized the potential of it for business was I was working at a social media agency, and I was helping behind the scenes with brand accounts, basically, which is something I do now as a consultant. But I've had agencies reach out to me to like hire me. So, I'll get stuff on LinkedIn every now and then about social media jobs. It's just interesting reading the requirements, because it's like a degree or relevant experience. Like, you don't need a degree to do TikTok. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, you don't anything. I've thought about going back and getting a master's. Like, both my parents have masters. My dad has 2 master's degrees.
Dang.
I would love to be able to say I have a master's in business or whatever. I never went to school for business, and I run my own business. Like,
businesses.
Multiple businesses for years now. And I think it would be so cool to be able to I have a master's in business or a master's in marketing. But anything I would pay to learn right now in school would be outdated by the time I graduated, because it's just changing so fast.
If it's not already outdated.
It is already
It's
outdated for sure. 100%.
Dang.
I could nerd out about like social media and like marketing culture and all, like, this is like my favorite thing to talk about.
So, that's why you're here, Victoria. Yes, you're the perfect person to do this.
Yeah,
and that's the cool thing too with like Generation Y, because we have performing artists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like even showing them the possibility of, you know, you can do this like for not only a living, but like you can now turn around and now teach classes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like not only are you receiving from what you create, but now you can recreate yourself pretty much.
Yeah.
And so it's I think it's amazing. So in a sense, with like, let's say somebody hit you up to get like consulting and stuff for their business. What all do they get from Victoria?
Yeah, so I usually do a more like one-on-one approach because I do have a course that's kind of like self-guided, that's like basics and best practices for influencers, content creators essentially, and small businesses. All the consulting I've done for larger businesses has been through like webinars, like basically teaching their social media departments how to leverage TikTok, because it is so different than other platforms. And what I found is that most social media departments do not have the time to dedicate to understanding it. And so they're throwing whatever they would do on Instagram at it, and it is not a good use of their funds, essentially.
Gotcha.
So like I go in and help them optimize the way that they're utilizing TikTok, and even just like teach them like how to find their space there. With content creators and small businesses, the biggest thing that I've done, obviously everything's kind of customized depending on who comes to me. Some of it's like getting them off the ground or teaching them even how to just edit a video. But the thing that I feel like I do the most is helping people monetize themselves in like a way that they won't get burnt out.
Gotcha.
Essentially.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
just navigating that space. Even like some people are creating content for free that they should be getting paid thousands of dollars for. Like that's something I'm really passionate about, is like creators being compensated fairly, because the content they're creating is getting more visibility and driving more brand awareness and sales than like commercials on television even are. So
I think I saw one of your videos talking about how TikTok is pretty much a small commercial.
It is.
You could do.
And here's the kicker is like, instead of going to a media company where you pay an agency to hire talent and a videographer and a photographer, and then you have a storyboard and you internally have to get that approved by legal. And then there's all this like bureaucracy of it. There's like so many moving parts. It's a whole team producing like a 15-second commercial. That costs a lot of money. It's like $100,000 to produce a 15-second ad sometimes. Right. Even the brands I've worked for as a model in their social media content, like we're being paid, you know, $75 to $250 an hour. Like when you go to a creator, you're getting a one-stop shop. You're getting someone who is the photographer. They are the videographer. They are the editor. They are the talent, and they're the distribution. But you want them to do that for free? Like, my time is worth more than that.
Crazy.
My like experience and expertise is worth more than that.
Yeah.
And my platform is worth more than that. I've worked 7 years to be where I am. Like the culture is shifting around like the creator like economy. Like it really is the most valuable form of advertising. And
definitely.
I really want more creators to start charging their worth. Like
It's real.
And it's because of the explosion of TikTok. I do think like a lot of people find themselves like, I don't know what to charge for this. I don't know how to navigate this. Kind of why I got into the space I'm in now is like, I want people to be paid. Like I want people to make this a career. I want it to change people's lives the way it's changed my life. And I think the only way to do that is to stop gatekeeping it and like talk about it.
Talk about it. Let's go. Okay. Goodness, Victoria, I really do appreciate your time. I feel
like we could talk for like 5 hours.
Yo, for real. That's why I'm trying to figure out like, you know. But for real, is there? Okay, we'll give. I want you to answer two things. One, if you can tell anybody that wants to be a creator, an entrepreneur, and all these kind of things, is there any like last word of advice or something that you live by? You know what I'm saying, that you can leave these people with?
Find something that you're passionate about and you would love to do every single day, something that you could like talk about without any notice, or that you're good at and you enjoy doing, and create content around that. And your content will not always look the same. It will evolve. Mine's evolved like 10 times. But you just have to start somewhere. And the best place to start is doing something that you enjoy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, for somebody who wants to be a creator, a content creator, a TikTok star, whatever, okay? Give them one thing, one passionate, like, keep doing it or whatever. I don't know. If you can tell that person, what would you tell them?
Oh, man. It sounds super cheesy, but you have to not care about the views. Like I feel like Gary Vee has said this probably. It's like
so many times.
If you can't do things for the validation from other people. Like you have to separate yourself from the hate, but you also have to separate yourself from the validation. Like you have to be doing it for yourself.
Yes.
Because I mean, I've been there. I'm so guilty of making the mistakes, which is kind of why I, am where I am now and talking about it more.
Yeah.
But it's so important to not get wrapped up in the numbers. And like the people that are successful are the ones that are passionate about what they're sharing.
That's real. So be passionate in everything you do, okay? So I appreciate you. Thank you again one more time, Victoria. You're amazing. And where can everybody follow you at?
On TikTok, it's @Victoria. On Instagram, it's @Victoria Jameson. And you guys can listen to my podcast. It's TikTok Radio, like a talk show. Realized on paper, it's easier to explain than saying it out loud because it sounds like TikTok. And so, right. TikTok Radio. It's a pun. Get it? So check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, and be sure to follow her on anything and everything. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the GNWY podcast. We'll see you next time.